This is Paul. Yeah. The Christian church supported hospitals and orphanages. Yeah. Now, in Anglo-Saxon law, yeah, the legal basis of philanthropy rests on the Statute of Charitable Uses. Oh, passed in England in 1601. Yeah. Statute eliminated taxes on property used for assisting the poor, orphans, and the aged, and on hospitals, schools, and universities. Now, when we look at the actual property owned by the philanthropies, yes, why don't you give me all the individual properties of all $1 trillion right now? Let's say that you weren't actually doing this charitable uses statute of 1601. Yes, you were putting certain conditions on the spending. Well, let's argue about it for just a second. I want to know, do you pay property taxes or charity? See, philanthropy, yes, is different than charities. Notre Dame, right, probably did not pay any actual income tax or property taxes. Yes. And as much as they it was a tourist attraction with because of a church that had been built 850 years ago. These for-profit, yes, Catholic charities, oh, they probably do have some sort of taxation for the properties that they use. Yes. Now, these poor orphans and the aged, yes, hospitals, schools, and universities. I want to know where the philanthropies have been giving their money. Yes. How much in property tax they have paid for each of their individual properties. Yes. And then have they been spending any of their philanthropic money? Really, you're just buying properties and using it for your corporate purposes. Why don't you get me the income of those that are employees of the philanthropies? Yes. The actual assets of them. Ooch. The bank accounts. Yes. And then get me the signature cards. Yes. Yes, he does. Get me their signatures on their income taxes returns. Because now, let's say that you had strayed away from the statute of charitable uses. See, I kind of have this idea that if you're spending 5% a year, yes, and you did all this calculation of humanity, and I look at the actual returns of the individual investments that you have, yes, the tax favored status of each of your individual properties, yes, and then the tax favored, well, humanity is not going to be living here for another 100 years, are they? I mean, you did your calculations. I remember listening to Bill Gates, yes, at a TED conference. In fact, get me all the TED conference speakers, yes, and every individual that Alphabet has invited to speak to whatever. Well, TED. Now, let's say Bill said that if we could just cut back on one of these variables, right, we could reduce the population by 10 to 15%. Now, this thought of people stopping, yes, the conception. Do Bill and Melinda Gates know? Do they know what causes the conception of babies? It happens to involve sexual nerve endings. Let's say I wanted to volunteer all the sexual nerve endings of those in philanthropy, yes, for the intention of filling up planet Earth so that your philanthropy will know. Well, let's say it was the end of time. Okay, the last 100 years of planet Earth. Let's go ahead and say that.